Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto with your host, Jay from Bitcoin Daily. This is officially the first live stream of the new year. Very exciting things going on this year in 2023. And today we have a very exciting episode as well, where we're going to be talking about several different things going on in the market right now, including Bitcoin's wild week where it went up pretty much over 22%, 21% in the last 7 days or so. We're also going to be taking a look at some of the altcoins and how they performed the last few weeks. We're going to be talking about the incoming Fed rate decision in about 2 weeks from now and how that could affect the crypto market and the overall economy. And then we're going to dive into some of the news that's been going on in the crypto world in the last week or so. And do of course, an analysis on the price of Bitcoin and where I think we could be going next. Also, a very big buy signal that just popped up on the charts here, as you guys can see right here. And if you guys look back to every time there was this buy signal. And then we're gonna end it. We're gonna end this with a live Q&A. Apologies if there's any outside noise. I do have my balcony door open since I do have a new puppy, and it needs to go to the bathroom outside in the balcony. We have some fake grass for him right now because he can't really go outside yet until he gets all his shots and vaccines and all that. So let's go ahead and jump right in. What is going on, guys? I know it's been a minute since I've done a live stream, so I'm excited to be back on here. Next week, I'm excited for next week because I definitely want to get this going consistently again. And next week, I will be having a co-host with me. So that should be fun. It should bring a little bit more of a dynamic to these. And I would love to bring on guests and stuff like that and make this a weekly thing where we can expand and grow this. So I think it should be fun. Let me see who's in here right now. Say what's up in the comments. If you're in here, I see AJ. What's going on, AJ? Thank you for joining me. So let's jump right in, guys. I don't want to waste any time. We're gonna make this an hour. I don't want to be too long here, right? So Bitcoin's price, as you guys already know, last week, this is the biggest green candle that we've had in how long? Let's see. It was about 22% green candle, right? Let's see when's the last time that we saw a candle that big. We'd have to go pretty far back, honestly. I am looking for another weekly candle that's anywhere near this candle that we just saw. And if you guys notice, oh, you guys can't see the screen. Hold on. There we go. If you guys notice, I haven't found one yet, and I'm all the way back here in 2021. Here we go. So the last time that we saw a candle this big in 1 week, where the price of Bitcoin went up this much in 1 week, was all the way back in February of 2021. So almost a year ago exactly to the day. It was February 8th. So just under a year that we had a 1 week rally of 25%. And that the price went from, it opened at 38,000 and it closed at 48,000. So it was a $10,000 move. Here, the move was not that big. Percentage wise, it was basically almost the same. It was 22%, depending where you're looking at it, for about $3,800. So huge move here. We opened at 17,000 last week and closed at 20,879. So that was the biggest move we've had in 2 years. So that's really big. Obviously, the reason for this was the inflation data came out, the CPI for December, right? Because it's always a month behind. And inflation went down from, was at 7.1% in November down to 6.5% in December. So that's 6 months in a row, I believe. I think since we peaked in June, July, every single month after that, we've consistently been lower and lower and lower. So that was very, very bullish overall for the economy. And it's bullish because now with the Fed interest rates, the Fed rate hike decision coming in the 1st of February, they might slow it down even more. So very bullish overall for the markets with the inflation data. And yeah, so very exciting week. It was the most movement, the most volatility that we've seen in a while, right? As you guys can see, other than Bitcoin, Ethereum also went up about 16% in the last 7 days. We have, let's see, what else moved up a lot? XRP up about 9%, but XRP is still very limited because of the ongoing lawsuit, the case against the SEC. Still a lot of doubts, still a lot of question marks. So it's going to be limited until that case is over. However, I'm still stacking up some XRP in the off chance that and I think it's going to be a good ending to it for XRP. And once that ends, I think this could shoot up to $1, $2, maybe even $3, hit those previous all-time highs. And if we're going back into that bull run, then, who knows where this could go, right? Set up some new all-time highs. Olale, I think is how you say it. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. What's up? Thank you for joining me. Jim, what's going on, Jim? Thanks for joining me. So let's see what else is going on here in the market. We got Polygon Matic, another one of my favorite picks here for this next bull cycle at 14%. It's sitting just under $1. I am stacking up on Polygon, guys. One of my favorite projects here. It's breaking into that top 10. But you guys can see Solana is making its comeback here. Solana dropped under $10, under that $10 mark. When the whole thing happened with FTX, you can see that it's run up about 38% in the last 7 days. Polkadot up about 15%. And you can see Shiba Inu, for those Shiba fans, up about 15% in the last week. And then we have Avalanche. Avalanche here in the top 20. It was pretty much the best performing coin in the top 20, I believe. Let me see. Other than Bitcoin, it was the next top performing coin. As you guys can see, 32%. And a big reason for that is because it announced it's a partnership with Amazon, which is pretty big, right? If we just kind of go and type in AVAX, Amazon partnership, you can see, let me see, let's just click on this one right here. Grinding halt despite that's not the one. Shakes hands with Amazon's AWS to crush the crypto market. So you can see this partnership that's going on where they're gonna bring scalable blockchain solutions to enterprises and governments. So that's really big, and that's in part of why Avalanche is up so much over the last 7 days. If we keep going down, we can see Chronos is up about 27%. That's, I believe, Crypto.com's coin, and they had some announcements with something with the energy, with the emissions. I forgot what it was exactly. But we have Near Protocol here up 26.5%. So that's another good project there that I need to talk more about, and I need to probably add more to my portfolio on that. I'm a big fan of it. I also like Algorand here, QNT, Quant. But look at this, guys. Decentraland Mana up 67% in the last week, and that's at its down today, right? But yeah, this is a big one. And if you look at Sandbox, another Metaverse coin, you can see it's also up 28%. So Metaverse coins have been doing pretty good. And then if you look here at Aptos, Aptos is up 54.94%. It was up more than that earlier, but it's been retracing a bit. So today we have a bit of retracement overall in the markets. As you guys can see, if you just kind of pull up the charts here, you see overall everything's kind of retracing back a bit. It hasn't really retraced since the run up on, over last week. So it's completely natural behavior here for the market overall. Farood, hopefully I didn't butcher that name. What's going on? Thank you for joining here. So let's take a look at basically the news over the last week, right? So we have the CPI, which is what we just spoke about, 6.5% that came in, and that basically was a catalyst to really send that price for Bitcoin and the crypto market up last week. We also had another thing that played a large role in this is the liquidations that happened in order for the price to go up. So if we look at Bitcoin liquidations, I think it's CoinGlass here. Let me see if it shows us. I think it only shows us up to the last 24 hours. So we probably won't be able to see. Oh, we can see it right here actually. So on the 13th, that was last week, you can see how many shorts got liquidated, right? So on the red here, I can't run my mouse over because it'll move, but on the red, you can see on the red, if you see it here, let me make sure you guys can see that. $492 million worth of short positions were liquidated. So that's basically what you call a short squeeze, and that's in a big part is what helped Bitcoin's price jump so much in 1 week, go up 22% in the week. So that was really big there. In other news, we have FTX. They've located $5 billion in assets. So that's good for the bankruptcy. Hopefully they can get the customers and everybody their money back. That would be very good for crypto. In other news, Gemini and Genesis are still kind of going at it, and now the SEC is investigating them and saying that they sold unregistered securities. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on, because that's gonna probably affect the entire crypto market if something were to go down. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. It's nothing too important right now, but if it gets more serious, could be something worth watching. And the other thing is we had this here. This is something that came out today where the two, I'm sure you guys have heard of 3 Arrows Capital. They went bankrupt, and the co-founders of that are now trying to raise $25 million for a new crypto exchange. So there's something that's, you guys got to be careful. It's going to be called GTX. I'd stay away. There's something, if they do open it, I'd stay completely away from. And Iran and Russia is exploring to launch a stable coin backed by gold. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty much what's been going on as far as news for today and in the last week. Let's jump into basically an analysis here. I want to go over what I'm currently watching overall here in the crypto on Bitcoin. I'm going to just kind of look at Bitcoin, and everything else pretty much will follow Bitcoin. So that's something that you need to always keep in mind. Everything loves to follow Bitcoin. So that's why I mostly cover and do analysis on Bitcoin. So you see, currently we're at $21,000. You can't see it because I'm in the way. There we go. Price is at 21,000, and what you're gonna notice is we're on this Fibonacci. You see this, the Fibonacci retracement tool here. We're currently sitting right at that resistance. So right now, 21,000 is going to be that resistance. Also, if you guys take a look here, all this here that happens, look at all this here. We got basically rejected a bunch of times here after we lost that support, right? We bounced back up, but we instantly lost that support again. And guess what? We got rejected again. And we continue to get rejected here. So these candles, this is a weekly time frame. So each candle represents an entire week. And it shows you we've been below this. Since we've lost the support back in June of last year, we've basically been stuck below it. We did go above it for about a month here during our run in July, August, and then in September, end of August, September, we began to drop right back down. So we went above it for a little bit. We ran into this next Fibonacci level, which is another resistance level there around that $26,000, $25,000, $28,000 range, and dropped right back down till where we currently are now. You can see that this was pretty much a dynamic resistance here, and then we had that breakout right above that line. So now we've reached the static resistance line, right? So a dynamic resistance is a resistance line that's basically like this. It's going down. A static resistance is going to be something like this, where it's just at basically an exact area, right? So right now we're at a static resistance line. Static resistances are usually stronger than dynamic ones. So so that's what we're watching right now, right? That's going to be the key resistance right now as we go forward throughout the week. And then a key support is probably going to be $20,000, right? 20,000 has played huge roles over the years. If you go all the way back, let's see, back to, wait, where year is this here? Okay, so we have to switch the chart because this one doesn't go back far enough. So let's get out of, this is the Bybit one. Let's go to a Bitstamp. Here we go. So if we go back to 2017-18, you guys already know that 20,000 was basically the all-time high, right? And then once we lost it, went into the bear market. And as we started going back up, you can see here, we were in that 20,000 range for a couple weeks there, probably like a month or so before breaking above it. And then when we got back to 20,000, as you guys can see here, we consolidated there for a long period of time again. So what that is kind of signaling to me, that's gonna be a big area, right? So, and it's currently where we're sitting at. So because it's such a big area there for us, I'm expecting that to be once again a support level there for us. So if we see any downside, any possible retracement, 20,000 you can bet is going to play a role as support. The next support, I would probably say probably 18,000, which is a support that we saw all these weeks right here. We also saw that play as a support back here. So 20,000 and 18,000 are the two supports currently, with 21,000 being the main resistance right now. You can see we're sitting at 21,000 right now. Let me see. The next thing that we need to talk about, that I wanted to talk about, is the CME gap. So I'll break down what the CME gap is and why it's important here. Let me find it here in my chart real quick. Is it this one? Let me trying to find it here. Let's go to the daily. This is not it. These are shorts. These are longs. Where is it? Is it this one right here? Here we go. So you can see the chart, Bitcoin CME futures. So basically what we're looking at is this right here. If we zoom in a bit here, let's zoom into this. We can see from this point right here to this point right here, there's a huge gap, right? There's this gap right here. Now, typically, not always, but typically this gap does get filled. So that's why a lot of people are talking about this right now. Now, it doesn't mean it has to get filled always. It's not a rule that's set in stone, but typically it does get filled. And it's probably because enough traders just agree that that gap has to be filled, which is then it fills, right? There's no other reason, no like concrete reason as to why that happens. So that's pretty much the reason why. So that's why you if you've been on Twitter or anything like that, you've probably been hearing a lot about this the CME gap. So that's something we have to watch for. And the good news is that if you look at this the gap, it closed at 19,550, right? And right now our low is 20,690. Wait, I'm sorry. The gap is at the high of this candle, which is 19,995. So might as well just say $20,000, right? So now you're seeing we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Now we see, okay, 20,000 has always been a big support. It's also a big whole number. So that's already two reasons for 20,000 to be a support level. Now you put in 20,000 is also where the gap, where the fill in for the gap for the CME gap. That's a third reason for that to be a support now. And the reason that CME gaps happen is because remember that the futures trading closes on Friday, right? So when it closes on Friday, it doesn't track. There's no trading from the time it closes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? So then it reopens again on Mondays, which is this candle right here. And whatever happened throughout the weekend, because the crypto market is 24/7 open market, if the price, like it did this weekend, goes up while the CME, the futures market, is closed, then when it opens up on Monday, what happens is there's a gap. There is no trading in the futures market between there. So now there's that gap. That is called the CME gap, right? So that usually gets closed at, I would say, at a 60 to 80% rate. That gap gets closed. Not meaning that it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but it could happen either later this week or in the coming weeks, right? I think I saw a study that showed that the majority of CME gaps, if they didn't close within that first day or first week, then they eventually close about I think the number was like around 80%. It was a high number, closed within 2 to 3 weeks. That gap eventually got filled. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on as we're watching the price of Bitcoin continue to go. Now, there are gaps that don't get filled. That's why it's not a rule that's set in stone. That means that it has to fill. There's people still waiting on a gap from 2020 or something like that. I forgot when it was, where Bitcoin's price was below $10,000. There's people that missed out on the previous bull run because they were waiting on a CME gap to fill, and it never filled. And 3 years later, they're still saying, oh my God, I'm not buying until this gap fills at $9,000 or whatever the price was. I don't know exact numbers. I think it might have been like $7,000 or $8,000. There's people that completely missed out last bull run because they were waiting on this gap to fill. So don't be one of those people. It's something to keep in mind, but it's not the entire picture, right? It's just a small piece of the puzzle. Let me see here. What's up, Daryl? How you doing? Volume a bit low. You're distant. All right. I could put up the mic a little bit. Let me see. I don't want to put it up way too much. I put it up a little bit. Let me know how that sounds. Yeah, because the mic is away from me a bit. So let me know how that sounds. All right, so where was I? So yeah, so that's all, as far as the CME gap. Those are my thoughts on it. It's not an end all be all, right? It's not set in stone. It's just something to watch, something that is possible and it's highly likely. But if you see the price of Bitcoin continue up and just taking off, don't even after 2 to 3 weeks, if that gap hasn't been filled, then I pretty much start forgetting about it unless I start seeing the price of Bitcoin come back down. So that's something to watch for now this week. Once we start getting past that 3-week mark, if price continues up without filling it, then it becomes less important. Let me see. What else did I want to talk about today? The hash ribbon buy signal. So that's one of the final things I want to talk about on today's live stream. The hash ribbon, which is this down here, and anyone could go to indicators. All you got to do is type in hash ribbon, and it'll pop up right there by this person, Capriol, whatever their name is. Just click on that right there, and you can have that on your chart. Now, this is what I do, right? So I don't do it on the daily chart. Right now we're on the daily. I'm gonna switch over to the weekly. On the weekly chart, and I'm actually go back to my chart that I have set up here. On the weekly chart, if we go back on the history of the hash ribbon indicator, right, that we just got on the close of last week, if we go back to the last time we got this buy signal, that was in August of 2021, right? So the close of this, the price of the close was 43,821. After we got that signal, the price went up from the time of the signal, which was this candle right here, to the top of that, basically a 58% move up was signaled by the hash ribbon indicator here. Now, if we continue back, you know, just because it does it one time doesn't mean anything, right? I need to see it consistently over the years. So if we go further back, and for this, I'm gonna swap back to one that we can see more history here. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Give me a second. Excuse me, guys. All right, so if we go a little bit further back, right, to the time before that we got the hash signal here, let's again take out our measuring tool here. Let's go to, want to be able to see that. So we closed here, and the top here, if we measure the signal, the weekly close on the buy signal to the top, that's a 234% move. All right, if you're not convinced, let's keep going further back. Let's look at the next buy signal here. Again, same thing, right? This happened July of 2020. So I'm gonna just highlight it here in the beginning and the close of that candle. And I could either put it up to this one or to the one that before it went down a little bit. But even if it went down here, like it still was above where it signaled, right? So if you keep going up, we can run it up to the point where we got another hash ribbon buy signal. That's 114%. Or you can keep going up to that top. That's about a 600% run up after that buy signal. Now, if we go a little bit further back, let's keep going back. Here, we got the signal right on this candle on the close of this one. If we just run it up to where we got the close on this candle, well, I'm sorry, where we got the next buy signal, it would have been up 33%. If you run it to the top, that's up over 800%, right? If we keep going back, I think there is a losing one somewhere. I don't think it's, oh, it's the next one right here. So it's this candle here on the close of this. It did go up 42% over the next, over a month after that, but it also did go down. And the reason why this is what I call an exception is because what was happening in March of 2020 that caused this meltdown. That's when we got the pandemic, right? So if we keep going back on this, here's another buy right here, right? On this close, let's just go to the top here, another 300%. If we keep going back, and guys, you can just keep going back and you're going to see this same exact result. It's crazy, right? This one, look at this one. This was over 3,000% from when it signaled the buy to the top. So the only exception to the rule was here, and the reason why, and one, first of all, it went up 42%, right? And second of all, the reason went down after that was because we had a global pandemic. And right after that, we got another buy signal here that did over 800% if you rode it all the way to the top. Now, of course, you can. It's hard to sell the top. We never know where the top exactly is. So there's all those. So you might not make 800%, but you could have done maybe 500%, right? Like there's exceptions. There's gonna be a lot of variety on results depending on when people sold, things like that. But overall, if you keep going back, you will notice that every time we get that buy signal, look at it, another buy signal here, price went up, buy signal here, price eventually went up, right? It consolidated and then eventually it went up. And look at this one. This one was in 2000. So like you could just keep going back and the price has always gone up eventually after a buy signal here. So this is a very, very accurate indicator for long term. This is talking about long term, basically for the rest of this year. Is anything that if you're using this buy signal, you have to be thinking at least 1 year, right? Minimum. So anytime this buy signal has triggered, and I have this to send me an email, this is how much I respect this signal. I have it set up as an alert on my TradingView chart to send me an email, send me a text message that says time to stack up, because that's what I've done since I got into crypto and I first found this indicator. Anytime this indicator has flashed a buy signal on the weekly, it has meant time to buy. It's a very good risk to reward, and as long as you're holding for a year plus. So is the last thing I wanted to talk about, is the bottom officially in? Who knows, right? Who knows? It to me, and this is my personal opinion, I believe that the bottom is in, and the only way it's not in is if there's another massive event that happens, bankruptcies. So for example, if Genesis, DCG, Decentral, what's it called? I don't know. DCG, Genesis, Gemini, because Genesis would affect Gemini. If that sets off another domino effect where there's bankruptcies, then there's contagion affecting other platforms, that's the only way that I see us hitting a new low. If there's another global pandemic, if there's more wars, that's the only way I see that this is not the bottom, right? Other than that, guys, I do not see a way for this to not be the bottom, because all the bad actors, at least the majority, are out. They're out of Bitcoin to sell. They cannot sell anymore. They're out, right? So who else is going to be selling that much Bitcoin to plummet the price? So I'm not saying we're in a bull market as of now, but I think this is a time to accumulate crypto right now. I think this in 2023, and I covered this in one of my videos. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend you check it out.
This secret indicator shows you the...
That's not what I wanted. Let me see. Show you guys here so you guys can check it out. And I'm gonna do a Q&A, so we'll be talking. I'll be answering some of your questions in a few minutes here. Let me just pull this up real quick. Here we go. Bring this over to the screen. So right here, guys, I did a video last week, predictions, my 2023 predictions for crypto. So I was very, very conservative with my predictions. I recommend you guys to check this video out. I highly recommend it, and where I talk about a lot of things that I'm kind of pretty much looking at, right? And I'm dropping another video this week. Highly recommend it as well for you guys to check out. So yeah, that's my thoughts, my opinion on it. If you guys disagree, that's fine, right? But that's my opinion on it. Unless there's another big event, I don't see how we haven't hit the bottom at this point, right? So that's pretty much what I'm watching, guys. I think we've bottomed here. I actually bought a full Bitcoin at around 16,000, which is looking really good right now. So I'm very excited for 2023 overall, guys. I think that this year we 100% end in the green. Now, how high we can go, I don't know. It's going to depend on a lot of variables. But I'm seeing inflation. I think inflation continues down. I think if inflation continues down, that directly affects the interest rates, right? So that's going to continue to slow down from 50 to 25. Eventually, it's going to pause. And then I think probably towards the end of the year, if not in 2024, they'll start decreasing the interest rates. And that's what's really going to set off the bull market, because that means money is cheaper. When money is cheaper, people can borrow more money and invest more money. And that's going to send everything into a frenzy, right? Into a bull market. So my expectations are a bull market 2024, 2025. 2023 is an accumulation period, accumulation time, where we can be ranging anywhere between like 18,000 up to maybe even $30,000 or something like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if it went even higher than that. So those are kind of my thoughts. And if we look at the yearly, and I covered this in the video that I spoke about, that in the last video I did last week. Let me remove all of these out of the way so we can actually see what's going on here. So these are yearly candles. And if you guys notice, starting from 2014, we had red, which was a bear market, then green, 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 bull market, red, bear market, green, 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 bull market, red, bear market. So I'm expecting this year green, next year green, and then the year after that green. Three green years in a row is usually how it happens. So we're going to be waiting to see what happens with that. But those are pretty much the things I'm looking at right now, guys. So now I'm going to do a Q&A. So whatever questions you guys have, drop it in the comments in the chat. Drop it in the chat, and I'll cover some of those questions. Let me catch up with the chat here. Jim says the mic is good. Awesome. Stefan says, do you think Bitcoin will go down? So it depends what your definition of down is. Will it go down to $20,000? Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. What time frame are you speaking about? How low are you talking about? So yeah, do I think it can range still? For sure, 100%. I think we can go down as low as 20, maybe even $18,000 again. And I think the bigger probability right now overall throughout the year is to the upside, not the downside at this point. Daryl said big short squeeze, but a bull trap in my opinion. It definitely could be a bull trap, but if it's a bull trap, then what you're saying is that we're gonna set a lower low. And I can't see a lower low happening unless there's a big reason, a big catalyst for a lower low to happen, right? So that's my thoughts on that as far as the possible bull traps. And if we, oh my God, what is going on with that line? Let me take this off. And if we kind of draw a line here, just to get an idea, you can see that that dynamic resistance that we had from the all-time high here has pretty much kind of been broken here. We've kind of broken that structure with this breakout last week. So that's another thing I'm looking at here. Now, I do think we need still to close the weekly above 21,500. Because if we do that, then I think we're above that resistance, and we can potentially run back up to these levels over here, which is around 25,000. So like this right here, this was 100% ended up being a bull trap because we went lower. Now the reason we went lower was mainly because of this right here, this big red candle. This big red candle happened because FTX went bankrupt, right? The second largest exchange in crypto went bankrupt. And even with all of that, we only dropped 22%. So, and we've made that all completely back last week. We just made all of that back. We're back into the range we were before the FTX bankruptcy, right? So that's the type of event that we will need to see again in order for this to be a bull trap. And so it could kind of play out like it played out here, right? If this is going to be a bull trap, there has to be a catalyst. It's not just gonna it's not gonna just happen just because. There has to be a catalyst event that would make Bitcoin's prices go lower. It's not just gonna happen just because, right? So that's kind of my thinking and how I'm viewing it, which is why I don't think without an event there will not be a lower price in Bitcoin right now. So that's just my thoughts on it. Let's see. Esco says Bitcoin has bottomed. Daryl says, yeah, when do you change green candles? Constantine, the indicator name is hash ribbon. So if you go to indicators, type in hash, it's going to be the first one right here. It's going to have the most downloads and all that. So hash ribbons right there. You could just click that and it'll be added onto your chart just like this one. Oh yeah, when do you chase green candles instead of buying red candles? When do you chase green candles instead of buying red candles? I'm not sure on the question. But, you know, it depends. Again, it depends what you're buying. Like how, in what sense are you speaking about, right? So if you're talking about day trading, as far as day trading, right now, I'm looking to short. I'm shorting here at this price because of the reasons that I told you guys earlier, right? We're at a resistance. That's the first reason. The second reason, we're up a lot, right? This is a massive run up. So there's definitely a lot of liquidity down here. And the last reason is because we have this right here. This is a gap. We have a CME gap. So although this is not always filled, there is a high chance that it's filled. So right now I'm in a short position with a stop somewhere above 21,500. And if we run above 22,000, I'll be flipping. If not, I'm buying up to about 21,500. And I'm taking profits on the way down, all the way down to about $20,000, which is the end, which is where this gap gets filled, and which is where we have a big support area. So that's currently the way I'm playing it right now. Now, if we're talking more long term, I'm starting to fill up my bags. I'm not gonna wait for a bottom signal because there's no such thing, right? We don't know if this is a bottom or not. There's no way to know, right? Anyone that says that they know for a fact is wrong. They're lying, right? So you only know that it was a bottom after the fact. When it's too late, you missed the bottom already. So the best way to approach this is to dollar cost average. What I like to do is buy red candles like this and for my long-term bags. So for example, last week, I didn't do any buying whatsoever, right? I am going to buy for some more long-term this week because of what we talked about, this buy signal right here. But I am, at the same time, I'm waiting on a red day. I do think we're going to have at least one red day this week. I'm waiting on a red day to possibly add to my position. Worst case scenario, I add a little bit higher. If I see that we break above this resistance, I'll just add at 22,000. It's fine, right? The same with, and then as far as altcoins, I'm doing the analysis on Bitcoins and just kind of, I know altcoins are going to follow. So I don't really need to analyze altcoins too much. But that's the way I'm currently playing it. I add at least at a minimum once a week. I add to my long-term portfolio. Long-term portfolio means the next 12 plus months, right? So 1 to 3 years is the where I'm looking at, because I think that's the next bull cycle, right, to 2025. So right now, last year 2022, this year 2023 has been accumulation years for me. I just been accumulating all this. So we didn't know, there's no way to know if this was a bottom or not, right? So what did I do? I just bought once a week, every single week. Then this happened. Guess what? I bought more every single week. Now we're moving back up. Guess what I'm doing? I must continue to buy. So this is all for long-term, for my long-term portfolio that I'm accumulating, right? Then once we start going up, I'm no longer buying for long terms. Now I'm starting to, eventually I'll be starting to flip into selling. The same way I've been buying once a week on the way down, I'm gonna flip to selling once a week on the way up. So that's just kind of how I play it. You know, and then you guys can decide how you want to play it as well. Let's see. Yeah, grayscale. Grayscale is definitely a reason and could be a catalyst. That's why I spoke about grayscale, Gemini, Genesis, all those things that could be a catalyst to send things lower. But I'm not going to sit on the sideline waiting on to see if that happens or not. I'm still going to buy every single week, because if that doesn't happen, if you know, then guess what? Prices are going to continue up. I'm going to be on the sidelines with no Bitcoin. If it does happen, all I'm going to do is just buy more Bitcoin. So it doesn't really matter. I'm going to just continue to dollar cost average my way. Let's see what else. Constantine, I think I already answered your question. Hash ribbon is the indicator. Hopefully you're able to get that. Esco says nobody is getting a pullback. Max Payne keep pumping. I love it. I love the bullish energy. Yeah, so if you guys have any more questions, I'll answer a few more. We got about 12 more minutes. If not, then we'll wrap it up for the day. It's been a fun week, guys. It's been fun. Finally, we getting some more movement in the market. Very excited for it. What else? There's a lot of things going on. So make sure you guys are following me, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel here on Bitcoin Daily. Next week, we're gonna do this again on a Monday. We have a video coming out this week on some mistakes that you should, by all means, avoid this year. And it's some of those mistakes we learned from last year. And one of those mistakes, of course, do not trust centralized exchanges. You guys already know what happened with that. So I have an entire video coming out on that this week. I have a video that I'm gonna also do on the hash ribbon, this buy signal here, because I think this is a massive opportunity here for your long-term portfolios. If we don't got any more questions, then I'm gonna wrap things up here. Thank you guys for all those who tuned in. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys are not subscribed yet. We'll be here again next week, same time, 1 p.m. And make sure to follow us on, we're on TikTok, Bitcoin Daily, on Twitter, Bitcoin X Daily, on Instagram, Bitcoin.daily. So we have every version of Bitcoin Daily available. You guys already know on Discord, we have a private Discord where we share all our thoughts. We basically put everything together there. We share our trades, as you guys can see here. If we pull this up, we shared exactly my thoughts for the week here. And if you guys look at the trades here, we've basically been taking some trades here. We had a long trade here that we took when we broke $18,000 with the entire trading plan. Same thing with Ethereum there. So you guys can, I'll have a link for that in the description. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you on the next one. As always, peace and love, guys. Have a good one.